It's the Gauntlet. Let's go.
If you smell what the Gauntlet is cooking.
What's going on, everybody at home? And do you smell what the Gauntlet is cooking on a Saturday night? I am your host with the most. We got a jam-packed show tonight. Also, just a lot of stuff to cover here with the NFL news, crazy trades that happened. We're going to go over all that. We're going to go over Player of the Week, Barry Sanders, Game of the Week, Tuck Rule. Is that the most controversial play in NFL history? We're gonna discuss all that and debate all that. But the first thing I really want to say is I want to thank everybody for the past year for their support over the course of just having this show and doing this show together. It's been really amazing to see all four of us come together and build something good, and the result that came with that, with all the support, that was kind of just icing on the cake for us. We just started this out just because it was something fun that we wanted to do, and we didn't think that this was possible. But first year's out the window. A lot of great things that we did, but it's on to the next thing, man. And I'm really excited to see what this team is going to do in year two. What's going on, gentlemen?
Sure. Yeah,
right.
Good.
Let's
go.
1 year.
I know, right?
It doesn't seem like that long, but it kind of does.
Doesn't, but
It really does.
time goes
like
by when you're having fun.
6 months ago. Or
Yeah.
something.
I think it's because most of us have known each other for a very long time. But we got some guests in the house.
Bring them out. Bring them out.
Let's get the party started.
Let's go.
Komodo Joe in the building. What's up, my guy?
Marty Joseph, what's up, man?
Sports betting. What's going on?
Sports betting, the degenerate gambler.
Joseph Jenkins, the degenerate gambler.
We might have to call for a intervention with that, but we got Greg.
What up, Greg?
What up, Greg?
What up, H-Town Greg? What's up, baby?
Oh, damn.
And then what up? We got Cool McCain in here as well with us.
What up?
How you guys doing?
Play callers.
Now, did good cool show up or did evil cool show up?
You always get a little bit of both.
You about to find out. Tonight.
Cool is cool.
All right, guys. So we'll start. Let's get this party started. We're starting off with our player of the week. Mr. Barry Sanders was one of the greatest running backs of all time. Played with the Detroit Lions. He had 8 All-Pro selections. He had 15,000 rushing yards. He had 109 total touchdowns. And in 10 seasons, he rushed for 1,000 yards 10 times. So that he was pretty much a model of consistency. He was an offensive weapon. Literally, if he makes one guy miss, he took it to the distance. Barry has a lot of highlight reels. So, Don, we'll start with you since he played for your team. When you look at Barry Sanders, what are some of the biggest things that stand out to you, and what are some of your best memories of watching him over the years?
The biggest thing that stands out is his lifetime yards per carry, which is 5. That's rarefied air. The only players in NFL history with the requisite number of carries to finish their career at 5 yards per carry or better are him and Jim Brown. There's been maybe one since then, Jamal Charles, but not enough carries. There's a few in the league right now, Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, that are over 5 yards per carry for their career. But I mean, man, what can you say about Barry? I was blessed enough to be a season ticket holder for his final season in Detroit, so I saw 8 of his last 16 games. I think the most impressive thing about Barry, in addition to the 10 years with 1,000 yards every year, why am I forgetting what year? 1997, I believe. Barry rushed for 2,053 yards. After 2 games, he had amassed
MVP season, correct?
Correct. After 2 games, he had amassed exactly 53 of those yards. Then he ripped off 2,000 in 14 games. He had 10 or 11 straight 100-yard games, which I don't think anyone will ever sniff that record. If he's not the best ever, it's Jim Brown. Suffice it to say, any one of us would be happy to start our franchise with either one of those backs. They're the best. You know, they played 9-10 years and they went out on top.
So you're saying that. So what you're saying, Dom, is that there's only two answers to this question. Who's the GOAT at running back? Jim Brown or Barry Sanders are the only two acceptable answers to that question.
Yes.
He's made his case on Walter Payton.
Sweetness is a close second.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you could almost put Sweetness on that level. My thing is, after those three, it drops off pretty considerably. Looking at you, Emmett Smith.
Definitely agree with that. But Tyler, you're a division rival, so you guys saw Barry quite a bit. So what really stands out to you with Barry?
So shout out to my stepdad, Kerry Weaver, by the way. He actually used to work Hall of Fame security, and when John Elway, Barry Sanders were inducted, he actually did Hall of Fame security for them.
Nice.
That was the year I didn't actually meet Barry Sanders, but I did get an autograph and a picture with Billy Sims, because Billy Sims was there supporting Barry Sanders at the time, for his, for when he gave his enshrinement speech. Yeah, he's a monster. I mean, he retired too early. I mean, it's what a lot of people say. I think it kind of, goes according to hand. As far as GOAT, if I'm given one, I would still say Jim Brown. I mean, people got to realize what Jim Brown had to do in 12, 14 game seasons. I mean, they weren't playing a lot of football games there. So Jim Brown's still my GOAT personally. But yeah, you can have a case for all of them. And yeah, I'm glad that Barry Sanders was player of the week this week. Yeah, he was a Detroit Lions. Sorry, Dom. I'm working on it.
Thank you.
But, Detroit, stand up.
Yeah, but
I appreciate you.
I swear,
Miles City.
I swear, I'll be one to admit it. I pronounce that city wrong all the time, and I'm working on that, honestly.
How do you pronounce
but
it?
Detroit.
Oh, Detroit. I did Detroit.
You can.
I always emphasize the D too, but my point is,
it's admissible to say D. Just don't say Detroit. If you insist on the long E, just say Detroit.
But that's all my thoughts on it. Barry Sanders, absolutely exceptional talent. He's 1, 2, or 3. Wherever you want to spin him is your GOAT between Walter Payton. 1, 2, or 3.
Listen here, you're not even a Bears fan. You're from Chicago. Anyways, Jay, what you got?
I'll keep it short, man. Like I've always. So we talk about these other running backs because my GOAT is Jim Brown, but I've always kind of looked at it as, Emmett, he's got the top rusher. He's got the top rushing record right now as far as yards. Walter Payton, to me, was the Swiss Army knife. He was a more well-rounded back. He could catch it. He could run it. He could throw it. Barry was the highlight reel, undoubtedly. And, I mean, Detroit has had some god-awful lines. And Barry, I will say out of any running back in history, he was the man that mastered out of making something out of nothing.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
When you think of home run hitter, I'm talking about any given moment a touchdown, you think of Barry Sanders,
Oh, wait, are you talking about Barry for 3, Barry for -4, Barry for 60 touchdown?
Yeah, like that Barry, And the scary part,
he didn't even have breakaway speed. He didn't trust his speed because how many of those long touchdown runs do you see him? He's gone and he's still looking back like, no, they ain't gonna catch you, Barry.
Yeah, and the funny part about it is, well, at least to me, he wasn't the fastest back. He was the most agile. He was the most agile. And with Barry, and the scary part is the Dolphins actually wanted him to pair up with Marino, and they had a shot at a Super Bowl in Detroit.
That would have been crazy.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, Barry should have a ring. He definitely should have a ring. But all in all, he's most definitely a top 5 like all time. I mean, I don't think it can be debated, but on people's opinions. But go ahead, Cool. What you got?
Is this just getting worse? Is Cool going to be like, maybe he's top 10? Tyler's like top 3. Then you said top 5. He's 1 or 1A. Please stop. But go ahead, Cool.
So you kind of stole my shine there with your
1C.
with your second rhetoric, Don, when you came back in. What I was going to say was one of the big things about Barry Sanders that I remember is he could run a -20, right? -15, -3, and then still end up with 150, 175 yards for the game. He was so elusive, man. There's so many running backs, including LaShawn McCoy, one of the running backs for me, and Mr. Tatum's Philadelphia Eagles, who kind of patterned the way he ran after Barry Sanders, because he kind of had a little bit of the Barry Sanders game in him. When you have a guy that's that influential to so many people, as well as a guy that everyone feels like, hey, this is a really great running back. To me, Barry Sanders is 1B or 1C, right? However you want to spin it, but he's definitely in the top 3. There's no doubt in that for me. If you want to say 5 just to make someone else feel good, you can. But Barry Sanders is top 3. I mean, what he was able to do with, like you also said, a piss poor line like almost every year. This was not a guy that had a great line to run behind like Emmitt Smith. This was a guy who had to make it his stuff.
He actually had halfway decent lines for a few of those. Like we had some all pros.
But when you're looking at overall,
and the numbers,
it was piss poor.
We're smart enough with McCoy to utilize him in the passing game.
Detroit line during Barry Sanders' time was actually top 10 in NFL. We actually really want to go by the analytics and numbers of it. So
if you go back, but if you use these, they were in the backfield on Barry Sanders a whole lot.
And like you said,
complete line.
About all those negative runs, I think Barry's number 1 all time in carries for negative yards.
And
I'm sure he is.
A lot of it on him. See, Cole, you talk about the eyes. I watched him too. I think he gets a lot more credit for how quote unquote that line is, but that line wasn't as bad as everybody made it seem.
No, it wasn't bad.
He was a top guy, but I don't.
It might not have been as bad as everyone made it seem. But the Dallas Cowboys' offensive line was much better.
It wasn't nearly as
good. Why are we comparing? Just because you're not the Cowboys line doesn't mean your own line's not that good.
It wasn't nearly as bad
for the Dallas Cowboys, and Emmitt Smith played for the Detroit Lions. It would have been a very different story. I think we all know that.
Just did the math earlier. If Barry had the number of carries that Emmitt Smith did for his career, he would have passed him by almost 3,000 yards.
This is what I'm confused about fans, because
you're right,
they always want to talk about the O-line as it compares to Dallas. Just because
that was the best O-line of all time, though.
Does not mean you're not that good. Is he better than Emmitt? Yes. But did he have a good O-line? Yes.
It was pretty good.
I understand what you're saying.
Dallas's was just so much better.
I don't agree. I don't care what the number. I don't care what the stats say. The numbers. When you looked at the games, Barry Sanders, a lot of times when the ball got in his hand, there were already defenders in the backfield. If you have a great complete line, that doesn't happen.
He also
may have had an awful player.
Barry basically played from 90 to 2000.
It was not good.
He did a lot of our
line in 2000 to 2020 was historically bad, like bottom 5 almost every year. But as far as Barry's O-line, no, it wasn't that bad.
And he did a lot of shaking and baking that put him in bad situations as well, but he just always recovers. So that's why people.
Well, you have to shake and bake when the people are there when you get the ball.
When they're right there in your face.
Suffice it to say, Barry was off script a lot, but
no, I have no problem.
Greg, what you got?
I have no. Sorry about that. My bad. Cool. You can take over my time when I get on here.
You good?
You good?
You are good. My
Greg, what you got?
Go ahead, Greg.
Before I go into, y'all can hear me, right? I want to.
Yeah.
Perfect. I didn't want to speak too long. Y'all can hear me. No, I always just figured like just kind of the what if, because it's just everybody kind of has the same story. His career just ended like so early, and we like to kind of bag on the Detroit organization because of it. And so I would say just if you're going ranking wise, definitely number 1, mostly because of what could have been ahead he kept on going. Because I think what Dom said, that 5 yards of carry over his lifetime, had he kept going, that's video game numbers. Like Madden,
that's a good point. That's a good.
That's the thing.
Madden would be Barry Sanders football at that point.
He retired. He knew he could have broke the record, but in addition to that, I believe his second year he could have won a rushing title, but he let Christian Okoye win it because we were getting blown out and we were out of the playoffs, and he's like, I don't care about the record. Barry didn't care about that stuff.
He was an unselfish player.
Yeah.
All right, so we're actually going to move up to our next segment now. Our next segment.
Say one thing, though.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
The only time I have no problem with putting Barry Sanders as like 1A, 1B, 1C. I think he's 1C because I think 1A is Jim and 1B is Walter Payton.
You
I have
just
a
love
problem
Walter
because
Payton.
The only time I ever see his team get discredited is because he's getting compared to Emmitt Smith. And I'm like, just because you get compared to Emmitt Smith's line does not mean your line or your team was that good. I watched him growing up as well because Barry Sanders was one of my favorite players too. But I will say, as much because he recovered, they forget about the plays that he did cause to have negative yards. He is a great player. And the reason why I have Jim Brown number one is that he never played in a league that people were paid to hurt you and still couldn't do it. They paid to hurt Jim Brown and never could do it. And he masked those yards. Jim Brown was a precursor to Walter Payton, who was a precursor to Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
All these guys showed out. So I think Lomas Brown, top 10 O-lineman back in the Detroit Lion days of the 90s. Herman Moore, top 5 receiver for about 5 or 6 years during Barry Sanders' 10-year career. So we're not going to sit here and say that it's all him. He had help. He just made it look good because he was able to recover. But if you take those guys off that team, we would not see the numbers Barry Sanders had. That's just my own take on that. He's 1C to me.
And Jim Brown played in an era where they only played 12 games in a season. If he played 16-game seasons, the numbers wouldn't even be close. But
that's my point, too.
We have to move on to the next segment, though. Our Game of the Week segment where we cover some of the most interesting games in history. This week, we're doing the New England Patriots and the Las Vegas Raiders, but back then they were still in Oakland. The Tuck Rule game. So this was a playoff game, and it's one of the most controversial games of all time because when you're looking at this play right here, Tom Brady gets the ball knocked out of his hands, but it's ruled as it's not a fumble. And now Charles Woodson, of course, has religiously said every single year pretty much it gets brought up it was a fumble. And then, this could have tilted the whole thing because that was back in the early days of Tom Brady. That was when they first became that dynasty when they won
his first ring,
in the
right?
early 2000s. They won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. So, arguably you could have prevented at least one of them from happening. So do you guys really think that this was the correct call at the time? Do you think that it was within the rules, even though it kind of looked worse?
Hell no.
Hell no, is what I was going to say.
No,
not at all.
Hang on, let's be honest. Raise your hand if you were
back then.
Raise your hand if you were really familiar with the Tuck rule at the time.
It's a dumb rule.
I was familiar with it.
I was not. You're the only one.
I was not super versed with it, but it don't matter. It was the wrong call.
It was the wrong call.
That was not the rule.
The way I was taught the rule was if your hand or if the defender is making contact with you before your hand is going forward, it is a fumble. And if you look at it, Seawood touched him at his hand before he threw it forward. So that should have been a fumble. That should have been recovered Oakland. That should have been a win. That's the way I remember the rule being taught.
That was the first one, but that's still that shining moment about Tom Brady getting help from the refs. Can I cuss? Can I cuss?
That's y'all.
No, I mean, don't make it awkward, Dom. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I knew what he was gonna say.
I know. What I take away from this game, though, every time I look at it, is if I was a Raiders fan and they told me they hated the Patriots more than they hated the Denver Broncos, more than they hated the Chiefs, more than they hated the Chargers, I would have no issue with it because if I was a Raiders fan, I would still be sick with Patriots fans. I wouldn't even want to look at them because they got screwed in that football game.
Right. And and I'm gonna go a little still on topic here, but everyone remembers that game for that play, for that one play.
Don't show me that shit. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see him fumble the ball. That's a fumble.
Fumble the ball.
Recover Raiders, game over.
Game should be over.
Did we still not do Charles Woodson as player of the week yet?
I would be sick if I was a Raiders fan for life.
Yeah,
I would want to fight the referees.
Yeah.
Fight their kids.
Yes, they definitely
play.
Look at this. Trash.
That's definitely a fumble.
Yeah.
That is definitely a fumble. And that was his college teammate. that
There's
got
no
it, too.
doubt that's a fumble. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
No
I
one's
remember-
debating it.
Even
We're all
Tom
debating
Brady
that.
recently, they did
We're
a
all
30 for
debating
30 about it. He admitted that it was a fumble.
That it was a
Yeah.
fumble.
He
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
They got away with
He
it.
had
It was a
already signed the
fumble.
blood oath, though.
The blood oath.
That was the beginning of the blood oath.
Yeah.
I like to
That-
look at it more as if Robert Kraft had started sliding some money into the refs and the league's pockets. But
You
that's
think
just,
so?
that's just the way I like to look at it. You know what I'm
Exactly.
You
saying?
think so?
Exactly.
You think so?
If I was a Raiders fan, I'd think so.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
It's
as an Eagles fan, I hate the Patriots
not-
with a passion. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
Yeah.
But to that point, because I remember that game because I was watching it live too. I stopped playing Madden to watch the rest of that game. And
Time
I
out, guys.
definitely-
Time out. Real quick, time out. We got a special guest coming in the building.
Come on, man.
Megan Shiesty!
What
What's up?
Hey,
What's up,
man.
New
I had
hair
to
don't
pop
care.
in
The
real quick
queen
to
of
tell y'all
hoops.
Happy anniversary, 1 year
Hey,
anniversary.
thank you.
Guys been grinding hard for a year. We see y'all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. You're an inspiration.
So, Megan, since
I'm on
you
my
just
own
joined
show, and
us-
I'm still here to simp for the queen.
So, Megan, since you just joined us, what are your thoughts on this Tuck rule game? Patriots and Raiders back in the day.
I
Was
mean,
it a
I'm not a
fumble?
big fan of the tuck rule, but I feel like that is not a surprise. I don't feel like anybody's really a big fan of the tuck rule, right?
Hell no.
It was
No,
trash.
it
It was
was
unanimous.
That's the worst rule in sports history, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
And they made their own interpretation to make sure that it worked for the
The,
Patriots.
the, catch,
That's the
the
part that's
catch
garbage.
rule is pretty bad because they still haven't figured that out. Like, do you know what a catch is? I don't.
I think your catch.
Oh no,
know
no,
what
Calvin
don't
Johnson.
start
Can't let it hit the ground.
That's some shit right there.
I agree with
You
you.
can't
Dom,
talk to a
because
You can't talk to a Cowboys fan about the
That
about
didn't
the
catch
Patriots.
it.
Yeah.
You know
But
that's gonna.
I agree.
That's a
with,
sore point.
but to
Wasn't
your
that the
point,
same
kinda-
playoffs when they won? When didn't Dallas? Wasn't that the same playoff year they beat us on that picked up PI flag?
That
Yep.
was it.
Same play.
That's why he didn't catch it. Fuck you, Des Bryant.
Actually, to be
Oh,
honest
you
with
are
you,
so aggressive.
be
But you're
honest
talking about
with
you
you,
sent for me.
but to be
Des
honest,
caught it, motherfucker.
to be
I'm
honest, with you, that
simping for you,
correlates
not
to the-
fucking Des Bryant.
Go ahead, JJ. Go ahead, JJ.
I forgot which show I'm on. I gotta fight for time to talk.
Same.
Now. I forgot which show I was on. But-
Around the horn. You got your time. Go ahead.
To your point, that same thing with the Tuck rules, the same thing with the Calvin Johnson and Des Bryant. Because by how I was understood, it should have been catch, fumble recovery by Des Bryant, or touchdown for Calvin Johnson. Same with the Tuck rule. It was a fumble. Now I do think there are things that if people wanted to believe that politics was involved with sports or it was rigged, I think these three situations explain why. Because I think Dallas, in their terms of Des Bryant, have beat Seattle at the Legion of Boom in Seattle that year. And if they had won, they were going to have DeMarco Murray come up to that town. And I think they would have stopped Seattle that year. I think they did not want to see the Raiders versus the Rams in this Super Bowl. They wanted to put the Patriots in there because it was quote unquote America's team at that time, quote unquote, with the patriotism and things like that. But
So you're saying it was rigged?
I don't think it was rigged. I think it was bad.
Well, it sounds like.
It
If we're
sounds like
talking
you're saying
about rigged
it was a
Super Bowls,
CON
I want to talk
conspiracy.
about New
I
Orleans.
think it was
like
like
a
a double
Superdome.
down.
I think it was. I heard you. It was CON.
Oh,
Conspiracy.
Megan, I'm
What's
with
that
I'm
from?
with you on that. The Saints got robbed in that game against the Rams, but you could technically like the year they won.
And it made the
they had
Super
a
Bowl
bounty
a foregone
scandal.
conclusion.
Look, no, the Saints did not. The Saints did not win the Super Bowl naturally. It made America feel good. They didn't even have a place to practice. No way they win the Super Bowl without some help.
Yeah.
I mean, Drew Brees should have been a
Yeah,
Dolphin.
they won it because of Bounty
Nick
Gate,
Saban
injuring
would have
players on
stayed in
purpose.
Miami, and then you
Right.
never see
they were
the
paying out
Crimson-
their pockets. That's what they were
Yeah.
doing.
That's how they won the Super Bowl, or even got to the Super Bowl. That's a totally another
You just
story.
proved my point. You just absolutely proved my point. Thank you.
So you see the
You're
Pandora's box to get opened when you start to talk about the
Entertainment.
Devils and the Patriots.
What?
Oh, boy.
We're always talking about some
and
kind
you
of
said it.
sort of-
Devil. Who do you sign the blood oath with? The
Move
devil.
on. Move on to these headlines. We got a bunch.
All right, we got too many headlines to cover today, man. I don't know where we're gonna start. I know where we're gonna start at.
Start with whatever you have.
First things first. Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, 4 years, $200 million. Aaron getting like $150 million guaranteed or something insane like that. $50 million a year, basically. This guy, they gave him the straight up bag. You know, Green Bay was just like, you know what? At all costs, we're going to keep Aaron Rodgers no matter what. We don't care about Jordan Love. It was a waste of a pick. They're probably going to get like a 7th rounder for him to some desperate team that needs a quarterback.
They'd be lucky.
And then that's it, bro. I mean, Aaron's going to be the guy with them for the next however long he plays in the league until he retires. And that's pretty much what it is now. They franchise tag Devontae Adams. They're still trying to work out when he's going to get paid. But it was pretty much about those two guys for the whole offseason. Everyone else, pretty much, no offense, but you guys don't matter. These guys are the only guys that matter in this organization right now. And they were the priority. And that's just business right there. So that's my thoughts. That's my opinions on it. But Tyler, you can share yours.
Yeah, I love it. I'm kind of surprised by it. I kept saying, for weeks, I thought Denver Broncos were going to be the team to get him because I thought, Nathaniel Hackett was hired as the head coach with that assumption. I was wrong. But the Packers, like this offseason, their front office staff with Brian Gutekunst and Mark Murphy, they actually started getting on better terms with Rodgers. And of course, he got the bag. He could have took a little bit of a pay cut. He could have went, the Tom Brady route, which I do give credit to Tom Brady. He has done that for his teams to build around him. But I have no issue with this because to me, Adams is getting a franchise tag. I think he will get an extension. I think that will come. They got until July to figure that out. And with this draft and talking about Jordan Love and Dom, you're saying we'd be lucky to get a 7th rounder. We'll see how desperate teams are in this draft as the combine gets closer and we start seeing those grades on those quarterbacks. Because this is a shitty ass draft. I'll just call it how it is at quarterback.
Yes,
what is it?
But if you defensive lineman or offensive lineman,
sure. No, it's a great
wide
draft.
Receivers.
With wide
just
receivers,
not quarterbacks.
Offensive
literally
linemen,
everything but quarterbacks.
I got one question. Now that you brought it up, if you're a team that's in desperate need of a quarterback, you have to choose one of these two options. You can't say, Gardner Minshew or one of the other veteran quarterbacks. You taking Jordan Love in a trade, or you taking one of these guys in the draft?
That's my point. That's my point. Tell me which quarterback you're sold on.
Neither. If I'm expecting to win, neither.
I'd just take whoever's already on the roster.
You want Jordan Love or Malik Willis?
I mean, I feel like I would take Jordan Love just because he's already been in the league. He's already been sitting behind Aaron Rodgers.
I'll go with Jordan Love.
He does have at least some experience riding the bench. Thank you, Kennedy.
And that's my and Megan, I'm gonna let you continue. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's my whole point. My whole point is everyone keeps talking about Jordan Love isn't worth this, he isn't worth this, and I'm like, look at the draft. We'll see what teams get desperate and need a quarterback. It only takes a draft pick, and for the Packers, you're going, okay, we'll use that on an offensive lineman.
But realistically, if you're desperate for a quarterback,
use the first round pick on him, you're not going to get that return on investment either way.
And we don't need to. That's the thing.
If you're desperate for a quarterback that you need to start right now, then that's why I say pull the trigger, because I don't want Jordan Love or any of these guys starting.
Go ahead, JJ.
I'm gonna just say one thing, and I'm gonna let you have it, JJ. Deshaun Watson just got cleared. We're probably gonna touch on that here in a minute. He just got cleared of everything, and he's still seeking his way out of Houston. And we still say we're going defense in the first round. That's how much we think about the quarterbacks coming out in this draft.
Okay, but here's my thing. Here's my thing about Deshaun Watson and everybody saying that it's over. Criminal charges are over. He still has to face civil cases, 22 different
Yes.
civil cases. And then on top of that, once that happens, and I anticipate him probably settling out of court on these civil cases, right? Once he settles, the NFL gets involved and they are going to issue a suspension. And so this situation
That's
is
what I'm
not
saying.
over. We're talking about somebody that's going to be suspended at least 6 games like Zeke. So
Cool.
Probably.
Did I not say they don't play
factor
callers
that
last
in.
night?
Factor that in.
Cool.
Probably.
Did I not say they don't play callers last night? I said the
I think
NFL
they
going to dive in.
Did I
They
not
might shorten-
agree with you
they might
that they're
shorten the
probably going to give him
suspension.
some sort of suspension?
Because he
And-
already missed the
and
year.
what Dom's about to say. And I said what Dom's about to say.
No,
Go ahead,
it's
Cole.
JJ.
Go into-
Go ahead, JJ.
My
Like
bad, JJ, go
4.
ahead.
4
I'll
instead
get
of 6.
I'll get to my Watson thoughts later. I think when I look at the Aaron Rodgers move, I learned the difference between fans of different franchises compared to others. Because before Aaron Rodgers, there was Brett Favre. He sat for about 3 years before Brett Favre was let go and Aaron Rodgers got in. So how can we not sit here and say Jordan Love can sit another year or 2 years now, and then when we feel like he's ready to go, we'll let Aaron go to where he wants to go, and then we start him. I don't think it's a knock on Jordan Love. I think teams operate differently. When you're used to success and you're used to doing things, you don't push the button the way other teams push the button. If this was like the Jaguars or the Buccaneers or something to that point, then it's one of those things like, oh my God, the draft is crashed. I think they still believe in Jordan Love. I just think that they didn't think he was ready at this point in time. So they said, let me get with the guy that I know is going to get us to the number 1 seed in the NFC or possibly the playoffs. Let me get with a guy that I know that's going to get me to the postseason to compete for a playoff, for a Super Bowl berth. And then as this guy's continue to get along, we're going to bring Devontae along as well. And then when we're ready to let him go, we'll let him go and let Jordan Love. Teams operate different in this world. The Ravens and the people like the Packers don't operate like the Jaguars. People like the Ravens, the Steelers, those teams, the Patriots, they don't operate like teams that aren't used to winning and being successful.
Right. Well-run
so I look at this
organizations.
as like, Aaron, I think, you know what, Aaron? You are our best bet. At least we know with you. Are we going to sit here and say Green Bay's not going to be in the playoffs next year? If we took them out, if we took Aaron,
no, we're not saying that. Here's what we are saying. What we're saying is you don't draft a guy in the first round if he's not going to be a part of your future plan.
Aaron Rodgers was a
and then
first
you
round
don't,
pick, and he had to wait
and then
4
you
years.
don't pay
And they
your other guy an absurd amount of money like Green Bay did if Jordan Love is a part of their plans. He is not a part of their
how
plans.
Can you say that
he will be traded.
But that's my point. We're talking about people who are everybody's time clock is so fast. Just because other teams wait 1 or 2 years before taking that guy in the first round doesn't mean that team has to do it. They don't have to do it that way. And can nobody look in their resume and
Green Bay made moves to prepare for the post Aaron Rodgers era. Re-signing Aaron Jones.
Took Jordan Love.
How have they made?
They took Jordan Love because he was.
Tell me
because Aaron Rodgers was getting
on Aaron Jones and drafting AJ Dillon. That was clearly moves for that. They're trying to transition to run first.
Then he would have played more than what he's played. They would have given Aaron Rodgers some rest if they really believed in Jordan Love.
Can I see? Well, I got one.
Okay, so they're not believing in him for the future. So you just contradicted yourself.
They took Jordan Love because
they fucked up.
Just operating differently.
They took Jordan Love because Aaron Rodgers was getting old.
I think you're going to have.
And then he turned around and won back-to-back league MVPs, and now they look even stupider for doing that pick for that reason alone.
Hey, we're a couple
I think
minutes.
you're not going to draft. I think you're not going to trade Jordan Love because I don't think anybody's going to want him right now. Now, maybe in a year he has a good preseason
or James.
I don't think anybody wants him right now.
Do you want to say something about score no score?
I'm going to say the same thing that I've been saying. Let's just see how the draft goes because I really want to see what these teams that need quarterbacks, and there's a big reason why I think a lot of these people are trying to make trades for quarterbacks right now is because
they saw what's in the draft at the combine. It was like,
look, there's not a quarterback going in the top 5. There's not going to be a quarterback going in the top 15. It's not happening.
But I still think it's possible that Jordan Love could be traded for like a 3rd round pick in this draft because is basically teams that need quarterbacks. We just got to see it. It's a wait.
I think the most you guys will get is probably a 5th.
And it's also
Okay, guys, I want to take a
forget-
shot with y'all, and then I gotta head out.
Gosh,
All right,
dang
let's
it,
take a
Megan!
shot.
I didn't get my liquor tonight.
We don't
I got my
drink on this
Powerade.
show. This ain't the sip off.
Well, it's your 1 year anniversary. You better have a shot.
Man, me shot of Dr. Pepper.
Dom, you should be banned just for making that comment.
Exactly.
I actually do have a shot of 1800 in the freezer, but I'm not going to
Megan,
go
but
get
hold on, real question, Megan, where you going?
I'm
It's
drunk.
Saturday night, bro.
I'm going to the
What you
cumbia.
saying?
Saturday night. I'm going to
Is
the
that the
cumbia.
little?
I was
is that
gonna
the little,
say, you brand
that
new?
little cool spot that you go to?
Huh?
Is that the little cool spot you hang out with? They got the good music.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Hey, anyway, I'm proud of you
B-
guys. Thank you so
BRB.
much for having me on. I really
Thank you,
enjoyed the
Megan. Love
show.
you. Thanks for
Bye, the
listening.
Queen
all
of
right?
Hoops. Bye, Queen of Hoops.
See you Monday,
Bye,
ma'am.
y'all.
I got a feeling this is Ray Lynn behind the Sports Arena page
It
right
is.
now.
It probably
It
think
is.
it is.
I got this is Ray. This is
'Cause
Ray.
you're the only one that come at me like that. Mind your business.
He's dropping fire on you guys. But next thing in the NFL, we're gonna go to the Russell Wilson trade. So Russell Wilson goes to Denver. Seattle gets 2 first-rounders, I believe, 2 second-rounders, and a couple of players. One of those players was Noah Fant, who is a really
And they
good young
swapped.
tight end. But
They
you want to know
swapped
something?
4 or something too. Yeah.
This is listen. I'm not taking anything away from the Denver Broncos because they clearly upgraded their quarterback situation. But you got to look at this division in totality.
Gauntlet. Unintended.
So you got Kansas City. You got Patrick Mahomes there. They've pretty much been going to the AFC Championship every year since Mahomes took over as a starter. You got Justin Herbert, who's a young stud, and he's on his way. They just go out and trade for Khalil Mack to fix the defense. And they got Bosa and Mack coming at you on the edge now. And they still got cap space to make moves.
I think
And in the Khalil trade, they didn't go with the first round pick.
think
They can still add Powell the first round
I think
pick.
they got Khalil Mack because the Denver Broncos got Russell Wilson and said we need to get some pass rush to get this guy out on the ground. I think that was the correct trade because Russell Wilson went to Denver.
Okay, but here's my point. Even if the Denver Broncos have Russell Wilson play at a pretty high level, I don't think they're better than the Chargers.
I've seen your comments on the Sports Arena.
I see them being a third place team. Between them and the Raiders, the only hope for them is to finish third. You're playing for third place. Do you know how crazy that sounds? You get Russell Wilson and you're still playing for third place?
I think Russell Wilson
James' point, real quick,
forgot how to stay in the pocket.
Real quick, to James's point. Last year, Tom Brady threw for over 5,300 yards and won the passing title. But what if I told you 2 quarterbacks threw for over 5,000 yards last year? One was Tom Brady. Guess who the other one was? Justin Herbert.
Herbert. I like Justin Herbert. Just get to the playoffs.
Personally, the team game, bro. You guys didn't keep the energy for Josh Allen his first couple years when he didn't make the playoffs.
True.
You guys weren't saying, were saying, well, Josh Allen's got a strong arm. Give him time. Well, how about you give Herbert time? He's only played in the league for 2 years.
But to your point, though, people are saying that Denver is a better team than Seattle. So why can't Russell get the same favor that you just gave Justin Herbert? I'm just saying, if he has a better team around him.
But let me ask you.
Thank you, Joe.
Ask you a question on that one.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm just saying. I think Denver is going to prove to be the second best team in the game because I will take Russell. Not in the game. I mean, second best team in the AFC West.
In the division.
I don't think he's going to be under Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
Oh, he will be.
Chargers
I haven't
Charger.
seen Russ be superhuman when it counts. I've seen him.
Exactly.
I've seen him in Seattle start off very hot, and then he completely ghosts in the second half of the season.
And I've
seen
Jay, what did we say last night, Jay?
I feel like the narrative for Russell Wilson is. Hold on, let me finish now. Russell Wilson has a different narrative than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers gets bashed constantly for postseason failure, but Russell Wilson gets a pass for postseason failure. Russell Wilson
is better than Aaron Rodgers. Just ask Tyler.
He has not shown in the playoffs, in the big games, that he's that guy.
But you
He was
wanna take
better
the guy that
before he
never
got
gave
the
up
bag.
Sound
but
just
you wanna
like my
take the guy
co-host
that
last
last
what
night.
they gave
never
up
Sounded
for
just
him?
like my co-host.
They better win at least one Super Bowl in the
But
years
you want
that he's
to,
with
you
us.
want to
like my
grant
co-host.
the guy that's never got to the big game yet, or even got to the playoffs, and when he had his big game, he lost that big game to get into the playoffs over the guy that at least can get to the playoffs.
Well,
That's
let me
what
ask you
you're
a
saying.
question.
You're
Let me ask
asking
you
me
a
to
question,
compare
Joseph.
a second or third year quarterback to a guy that's been in the league for how many years, JJ?
You said it yourself.
Are you being
In
serious?
the
You just said it
division.
yourself. You said
In
the
the
Chargers,
division.
Justin
The
Herbert's
division
better than Russell
doesn't
Wilson, so you
matter how many
compared that.
times with a different team Russell Wilson made the playoffs. Doesn't matter what he did at the previous organization now. He's now with Denver. In that division hierarchy, in my opinion, Russell Wilson and the Broncos are the fourth best team.
Second,
They're better than they were.
disagree.
They're better than they were last year,
Ooh.
but they're still
I don't know
the fourth
about
best
that,
team.
but
Well, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you.
Ooh.
I'm gonna tell you. I'll give you, and I'll tell you
Chiefs,
why.
Chargers, Broncos, Raiders.
I have Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, and I'll tell
Chiefs,
you why.
Broncos, Raiders,
Darren Waller's going to be back playing next year, is he not?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
They're going to probably re-sign Hunter Renfrow. They have a
needs a
solid running game.
Waller needs a
They do
rebound
need-
season badly.
Well, he was hurt a lot last year, so that season is going to happen. That's Darren Waller, right?
Yeah, he's the fourth
Then
best tight
they're-
end in the game.
Yeah,
Okay.
they extended
And then
Max Crosby though.
They're going to get another wide receiver because obviously the situation that happened there, they lost the guy that they were depending on to be a breakout player for them last year due to his off-field issues. So they're going to get another wide receiver in there, right? When they do that with the quarterback and Derek Carr, who's not great, but he's pretty good.
Carr
right?
might not be there. They're trying to
They're
punt
going
on
to-
him,
Well, we can
No, they're
only
not.
go on.
which
We
is
can only go on
crazy.
what we have right now. If they get rid of him, then maybe that changes things. But we're talking about what they have right now. So in my opinion, Denver is going to be a better team, but they're still the fourth best team in the division because of some of the things that James Tatum said. You're not going to get a full solid season out of Russell Wilson. You're going to have to play solid down the stretch and win games in order to get that division. And you don't see that from Russ. Russ is going to have a stretch where he plays great. He's like an older version as far as how he
Kyler
plays
Murray.
throughout the season of Kyler Murray. Yes.
Kyler
He
Murray.
start off
He's
great. As
He's
the
the
season
second
goes,
best quarterback in that
is.
division. It will be on the second best team because when Justin Herbert has to face him, he's not going to overtake
Justin Herbert
him.
don't face him.
I'll say
Justin
it right
Herbert don't
now.
face him.
Justin Herbert will
Justin Herbert
definitely
plays
have a
the
better
defense.
season
He don't
than
play
Russell
Russell
Wilson.
Wilson.
Head matchup as in the team.
The team's
I will
gonna.
take
The
Russell
Chargers are going to be a better
Wilson
team,
right
dude.
now.
You can take
Chargers
Russell
going.
Right now.
Chargers
You
going
can take
Chargers.
Justin Herbert's Chargers.
No, they're
And
not.
the Raiders. I will take them as the second
say
best.
You can
this.
take him.
What are we betting? What are we
AFC
betting,
West.
James? Necco
You
wafers.
can take him.
We'll bet something, but what
Bob
you're saying
Carousel.
about the Chargers is
Necco
wrong.
wafers.
What
Greg,
you're
Necco
saying about the
wafers.
Chargers is what everyone said about the Bengals in the playoffs, and they ended up in the Super Bowl.
Oh no no
So,
no!
You
Keep the same energy
Oh no no no!
for a team
Mm.
that just
No
went out.
no one.
Mm.
No one on earth had them in the Super Bowl. Me and Jay
I'm
said
talking
they're
about
stealing a
during the
playoff
season.
team.
I'm talking about during the season when I kept saying, wow, this Bengals team is a lot better than expected. They might win the AFC North. Was laughed at for saying that when they got
I
into the
didn't
playoffs.
laugh at you. It was a bold take.
Everyone thought
That's
there was
Joe
no chance they'd
Shiesty.
go on a run. So
That's
it's
your
all
boy.
narratives. It's all narratives
I thought
that
you were
we're talking
wrong,
about here.
but you were
I
right.
thought you were wrong.
They
but
got
I also
cap
was also
space.
right when I said the Chargers would
They
not
got
make
cap
the playoffs.
space. They added
They
Khalil
did.
Mack to their defense.
Yeah,
Asante
the Chargers
Samuel
are definitely a
Jr.
better
My
team
question-
than the Broncos.
had a good
There's
year
no question
last
about that.
year.
There's
Derwin
no
We're
question.
going.
I think
We're
I
going
stand
overtime
by the
tonight.
Broncos
Fuck
are
it,
better than the
boys.
Chargers,
We're going over.
period, with Russell Wilson.
This
I
is
think
way
Russell's
too much
about to
fun.
remind you guys of how good he actually is.
He is
Greg,
for half
Greg,
the season.
Greg, hey,
Did
what's
he
your
gonna
thoughts
remind you
for
of what he
full
does when he plays the
season?
whole season?
All right,
Hang
guys.
on,
never
hang
done it
on,
before.
hang
How's
on,
he
hang
gonna
on,
do it?
hang on. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I said Greg. He hadn't had a turn yet. Go ahead, Greg.
My bad, Greg.
Y'all going in. I will say this about the Broncos, and luckily for them, they, along with the rest of the division, play the AFC South, so they have a chance to make some headway. Also, with
That's
the
true.
with the extra game, with the they got the Jets as the extra at one of the extra games because they were fourth place.
Yeah,
And they
that's
also got, if I believe, Seattle. Ironically enough,
Away
As-
or at home?
Away at that 17th game.
Ooh.
Oh, perfect. Seattle.
So
Drew Lock
Broncos
and the
can
Seattle Seahawks beat
can't be
Russell
Drew Lock.
Wilson.
noise, and,
It would be Geno Smith before Drew Lock.
Yeah,
It
they're-
might be
Hey,
Deshaun
don't
Watson.
hey. What we don't do on this show is hate on Geno Smith.
I'm not hating on Geno Smith. I'm saying it would be
Geno
him before
Smith.
Drew Lock. I'm not hating.
Smith, say it, Jay. Say that man's name.
Smith.
Well, what are Tyler's thoughts since Tyler's known Russell?
Yeah, he's been
Speaking
quiet.
of
Aaron Rodgers. and
speaking
the
of
Dallas.
terrible Missouri quarterbacks, Geno Smith,
Yeah.
Blaine Gabbert.
He went to
I
West
thought-
Virginia. Gino's
Oh,
from
you're
West
right. You're
Virginia.
right. You're right. You're right.
I thought Denver was going to trade for a quarterback no matter what. Obviously, I think it kind of blew up in their face after Aaron Rodgers signed back with the Packers. I don't think they hired Nathaniel Hackett with the assumption that Russell Wilson was going to be their target. I think he was the backup plan. So
They were
I
left
think they
scrambling, and
yeah,
they
so they
also
scrambled. And
they also spent $95 million re-upping wide receivers.
So my whole point is when I really look at this, I really think Seattle won this trade because we knew he was going to be gone anyway. Seattle had didn't have a lot of faith that Russell was going to come back to them. I understand he was with that team for so long, but they all knew he was gone. So for them, what do? You stack a crap ton of picks. You already are releasing people now, so now you're going to have a crap ton of cap space too. So I think
Did y'all
Seattle's
see
doing
that
great
Noah
thing in the right
Fant meme?
building. But people have said that Pete Carroll staying there, and they're for sure not rebuilding because Pete Carroll stayed there. I thought Pete Carroll should have been fired this offseason. I said it after the offseason.
Surprised.
That's how they could have kept Russ.
I was surprised. So I don't.
Seattle
know what
should just
they're
blow
doing.
it up at this point.
That's what I think. I think
They have no reason to, and we're gonna get to Deshaun Watson next. But
Wait, no reason to blow it up.
Seattle probably has what it takes to trade for Deshaun Watson with their new picks that they just acquired.
Yes.
They probably
So
do.
So
Okay,
so do the Eagles.
other than the Philadelphia Eagles,
You'd in
Seattle
some
is the
ways
only
you'd be
other
better
team-
off.
Seattle is the only other team that can offer you 3+ first-round picks.
What about the Giants? Don't they have like 2 or 3 this year?
They're not. They
Two.
the amount
They're
of money
sick-
that they have invested into their defense.
They're
messing with
sticking
y'all.
with
I
Daniel
clearly know it's
Jones
not.
for
I clearly know
oh
they're sticking
my
with Daniel
lord.
Jones. I'm just messing
Look
with you. I
who,
clearly
and
know
look
that.
who's here. Look who's here, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Wilson.
In the
Hey,
soundproof in the soundproof booth.
He said he wanted to smoke.
Who's
First
that
off-
again? Who's that
First
again?
off-
Exactly. Yeah, who's that?
Happy
Introduce yourself.
If y'all don't know who I am, then clearly y'all ain't been paying attention. Let's just call it what it is.
You ain't paying attention.
You ain't paying attention. So first off, happy anniversary, fellas. Much
Thanks,
love to the Gauntlet podcast, man.
Right
Y'all be
on.
doing a lot of great things. I just got to give y'all a lot of love first and foremost. To JJ, to my brother Cool, everybody else here tonight, man. Thank y'all so much. I just wanted to jump on really quick because Dom, man, you just dying to get under my skin and get on the sports arena. That's what you dying to do, brother. I see it. I
Get 'em
can
on.
feel it.
I don't even want to be on anymore. Unless you invite me.
I'm telling you right now, man.
I'm through asking.
Okay. All right. Well,
I never
you know
I
what?
never asked.
Listen.
I would love to be on.
This
You
is
know
a-
that.
Let
this-
the man speak.
Public service announcement on the Gauntlet here tonight. I told the crew Wednesday, based on life just happening the way it is, I am stepping away from the show for a minute. So I'm not going to be on for a minute. I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple months. But trust and believe, when I come back, my first guest is going to be Dom DeRubius.
You got a lot of time to train, Dom. A lot of time.
Hey, bro, you better get in the
Step your
gym.
game up, Dom.
You got to get in shape.
Looking forward to it.
And to show my love for Dom, I'm not going to give you the whole crew. See, I see that's an unfair advantage. See, I'm gonna treat you like I treat a lot of people. See, I want all the smoke. So me and you, Dom, it's gonna be 1-on-1. Just so the people can know.
there you
Ain't gonna be no interruptions. Ain't
You
gonna
don't
be
want
no
none.
hesitations. And a matter of fact, I'm gonna even do you one better. I'm gonna let you pick the topics that we talk about.
Can we put this on pay-per-view?
I'll pay.
You don't want none,
So,
Eric. But I'm not sure I could beat your 40 times, so maybe I don't want none.
well, I'm just saying, listen, don't let the professionalism and the the well-educated voice fool you, brother. See, when people like to poke at the bear sometimes, that's when I got to remind them who I am. So like I said,
Hey, you outran Bailey Zappi.
Who?
You ran faster 40 than Zappy from Western Kentucky.
All right.
Best blessing.
And you're older than me, aren't you? Or right around the same age?
I am 45, sir, going on 46. But like I said, just because I don't do something doesn't mean that I can't. But like I said, I just wanted to jump on. I've been listening to y'all all night. Dom, you still sound crazy, but it's okay. Tyler, I'm gonna see you in Chicago. Cool, my brother. We got a great thing in the works. James, my brother, I love you, man. Always repping the 215. JJ, and to my two other brothers, I'm so sorry because my mind is just racing. That I want to say Denzel, but I know that's wrong.
I know right the one.
That's Neil.
You go by so much, I don't even know. And to my brother next to Cool, please tell me who you are because I feel bad.
Yeah, I'm Gregory. What's going on, man?
That's Greg.
Greg, okay, thank you. But again, to the Gauntlet podcast, man, the best thing on Saturday night, outside of college football, of course. Much love to all of y'all, man. Everybody stay blessed. Everybody stay up. I'm going to holler at you.
All right, brother.
Thanks for coming
on, man. Much love.
All right, man. That was good to hear from Eric there. But Deshaun Watson getting cleared of his legal charges. They didn't have enough evidence, everything like that. So now there's a bunch of teams calling Houston saying, hey, yo, what's good? So what do you guys think about that, man? What's your guys' thoughts on the whole situation and who you think is going to trade for Deshaun when it's all said and done? What's up,
start
Greg?
with
Start with you, brother.
Start with JJ and go up and around.
I was saying start with the man.
No, we're gonna start with the H Town boys. We're gonna start with the H Town boys.
Oh shoot, that's right. Hold on.
All right, you go your first, Jay. When we get it.
I'm trying to point.
That's you, Greg.
JJ, you're tripping. You need to chill out.
All right,
I'm trying to point to both of them. Trying to say go to this one and go to that one.
Can't get it right.
All right, Greg, what's up, bro? Talk to me.
I'm gonna start it. So
I'll mute myself.
Obviously, I'm not going to go through the whole mumbo jumbo with legal stuff because it's been a headache yesterday just even talking to people about it. I'm not going to go through that right now. What I will say is, if I'm Nick Casario, I'm still doing backflips because he has played this as perfectly as possible. He waited. It could have got bad. Like yesterday, it could have got bad. He could have got some criminal charges. He could have went to jail. He could have got nothing. Now he getting basically what the Dolphins were going to give him before the deadline, essentially, before they said no. So if you're Nick Casario, you're doing backflips right now. You're looking at Sean. You're telling him, hey, man, look, I set you for a year. I'll do it again. How are we going to do this? You going to drop your no trade clause? Or we're going to make it hairy for you again?
Let me ask you, Greg.
Go ahead.
What's your ideal trade scenario? Like, do you want the boatload of picks, or do you want like a player and a few picks?
I think for me, the most intriguing so far is what's going on in Carolina. I think that's probably the best package that I've seen.
You don't want from CMC though.
What's that?
What's the trade offer by the Panthers?
You don't want CMC.
No, I don't want. No, we're not talking about CMC.
What are the Panthers offering?
If I remember, if I think it's like at least 3 firsts, a couple seconds, and a couple of defensive players, I think, or DJ Moore. Not Brian Burns, but I think it's somebody else on defense that they offering up.
Jeremy Chin.
Yeah, that's the one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then that's the one. So I think that's the best. That's the best case scenario in my opinion.
That's a good deal. That's a good haul.
Yeah. So, but as far as like the overall situation with going on, personally as a fan, I'm glad that we are at least seemingly at the end of this road because, well, I tell you, it's been the most annoying thing ever. It's been the most annoying thing ever. And again, this franchise has been in existence for only 21 years. The most annoying thing ever. Half this fan base is split up now because they going on the whole legal thing with what yes they mean. No, only the yes they means is that teams are going to trade for them because teams don't care about civil cases. Now, as Megan said,
civil cases won't put you in jail.
No, as Megan said, at worst, he gets suspended for 6 games. So owners will take on, especially if a guy is on the contract.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do nothing about it. So teams don't care about civil cases. They'll deal with the 6-game suspension, and then they get them for the rest. They give for another decade. What's 6 games? They're going to have for a decade.
I wish that he wasn't fed up with your organization and your owner because I would like to see him continue his career in Houston.
Go ahead, Jay.
So that's been before Jay goes. That's even like the reason why he even wants out. That is like we don't know what the hell is going on. That's been stories
Because
about
the owner dropped the hard ER on him face to face 10 times.
No. First of all, that's Bob McNair, and he's been dead for 4 years. Cal McNair is nothing like that. He's maybe an idiot compared to Bob McNair.
He's definitely an idiot, but
You
he's not
really
as bad as
think
He's
that's
an
his
idiot,
son, right?
but he's not Bob McNair. Let's
That's
get
his
that
son, right?
He's not.
Yeah, Cal McNair.
But
The apple
I'm gonna tell you the real
fall
elephant in
from
the
the
room.
tree. Here's the example: Mark Davis. But go ahead, Jay.
Okay, the real elephant in the room. Sure, there's the McNairs. The wife owns the team. Cal's the
Actually,
CEO.
Bill
and
O'Brien get
everything.
fired.
I'm gonna tell you the real
Chicken
bad guy here. Okay, first and foremost, that trade scenario with the Panthers that y'all just ran down, that sounds good. With that being said, we have to let Nick Caserio do his job.
Correct.
Nick Caserio, the first thing you got to do is get Jack Easterby out of your ear. If you kick him in the balls, I'm fine with that too, okay? Because there is your real bad guy. I swear. Y'all look this man up, okay? He
Jack Easterby was still
he
in
is
there.
the equivalent of an evangelical faith healer who makes $4 million a year in his church with his jet in his mansion. That's Jack Easterby, okay? He needs to be nowhere near any of this. Nowhere
Is
near
Sam
any of
Darnold
this.
the deal breaker?
Oh,
Huh?
that was funny, man.
I'd give him
Is
a
Sam
coach breaker.
Darnold the
Where's
deal
he at?
breaker?
I'm off the Jack Easterby thing because I don't think that's far much of a problem. If one man had that much power, then that's a whole issue in the league in itself. I don't think. I don't know. I don't personally. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's Easterby. Now Easterby is annoying. I'll give you that. He's annoying as hell. And when they had Bill O'Brien, the de facto GM, and the GM by committee, yeah, that was a huge mistake in itself. Even though that was more so because they tried to get Caserio the first time. But I don't think that at this point, Easterby is what it is. Whatever job he does it well enough because they keep him around.
They keep him around because what was that point?
Say the same thing about the Dolphins GM, and that dude is terrible.
That's why Easterby got a job because Cal McNair is a moron and he has no balls. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how shitty GMs stick around longer than they should.
I just have a quick comment about the this whole scenario. I think everybody needs to remember that Houston's asking for a lot, but he has a no trade clause.
Right.
So it's going to end up being between like one or two teams bidding against each other, probably, because it's going to be where he wants to go.
I would say this. No,
I'm going to say this.
So you got to remember that.
I'm going to say this real quick. Keep an eye on Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's possibility. I'll say this because of that no trade clause, though. You got to remember this too. Now he has to play ball with Caserio. That's the one thing about the no trade clause that people don't think about. And again, what I said before, he set him for a year. He told him to stay home for a whole year. That's nothing to stop him from doing it again. Nothing at this point. We talk about Caserio here. We ain't talking about Bill O'Brien. Caserio,
it's like
Pittsburgh is a possibility. But I don't trust Deshaun Watson in a cold weather city.
Well, Pittsburgh came out from an article. I heard that they're not interested in Deshaun Watson.
Georgia.
He's actually from South Carolina. He played college ball at Clemson.
Right, so
he has a lot of ties.
It does not matter. Deshaun Watson was a top 10 quarterback the last time we saw him play.
He was.
Yeah, I was just saying it from the point of I think the Panthers have an upper hand because he's from the area, and that's one of the places I think he would waive his clause and go back to.
And the trade package, and the Texans are going to like that.
Also,
trade package
it's the best place.
I don't know if they're going to give up all that though. If I'm the Panthers, what you're talking, I did see that, but there's a couple of different rumors about what they're trying to offer, and
Just
a lot of the packages that they're saying here
and get rid of CMC.
Yeah, a lot of them include CMC because they really want him gone.
I hate to say it. The new deal already kicked in though.
I hate to say it.
New deal kicked in, so you gotta give it some players because you gotta match salary.
Yeah, you gotta give up some pieces because the new deal, like you said, is already in place.
I hate to say it, but I think Philadelphia has the most attractive offer that they can give Houston.
But you don't want it.
They pulled out. I thought.
I'm not saying there's conflicting reports.
I don't think he wants to come there though.
There's conflicting reports.
You would be better off. Well,
is there any way I can finish what I was going to say? Is there any way I can finish?
I say go ahead. Go ahead.
So there's conflicting reports. Half the reports say they're not interested. Half of them say that they are. I'm not saying I want Deshaun Watson instead of Jalen Hurts, but even though he's better than Jalen Hurts,
There's
no other team that can offer a decent young quarterback that showed some good things, led a team to the playoffs, multiple first rounders. There's no other team that could do that. That would be the perfect scenario for Houston because they could build a team around Hurts who's already shown stuff, and they get
if Philly calls, we're probably going to ask for Hurts, especially since Hurts is
definitely.
Well, you're gonna get Hurts.
We're not keeping Hurts.
It's a wash because you get Hurts and 3 first-round picks. So Philly, you get that huge Deshaun Watson contract, but you also don't have to re-sign 3 first-rounders in 3 or 4 years.
All right,
you should be looking to get rid of at least one of those first-round picks, no matter what.
Well,
even if they're I don't think we should do it. I'm not saying 3 best players in the first round.
I'm not saying I think we should do it. What I am saying is that's probably the most lucrative offer that
attractive package
can give them.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to say it.
I wouldn't do it if I was Philly either. I like Jalen Hurts. I've been a day one supporter. But you still better try to trade at least one of those first-round picks for whatever.
I think that what they're going to do with the first rounders is they're going to – one of the first rounders will be traded. It will be traded for a first rounder next year.
In the future.
And they're going to use this year. This season is going to be evaluating Jalen Hurts. And if Jalen Hurts is not their guy after this season, then you have 2 first rounders in 2023 that you can either use to move up for Bryce Young possibly, or if there's another quarterback that you really want that comes available, then that's what you're going to do.
I don't think you need to evaluate Jalen Hurts until the postseason.
Well, I mean, we need to see him get better. We do.
He's gonna get you there, and unless it's an even tougher matchup, I think you'll probably win a game in the playoffs. Like if you don't make the playoffs, I'm shocked.
If Jalen Hurts
if you don't win a playoff game,
I'm not worried about it.
I think he will. Like I said, I like Jalen Hurts.
Before we get too crazy in the NFC East, there was another trade that went down this week. This is the last trade that we're going to cover tonight. We all know who it was. It was Mr. Carson Wentz making his return to this division.
Oh boy, here we go.
In Washington, and it's funny that we're just talking about Deshaun Watson because I've been seeing a lot of Washington fans that are sick to their stomachs right now because just mere days after they trade for Carson Wentz, this stuff comes out, and Washington would probably give Houston anything they want for Deshaun Watson. Dan Snyder doesn't really care about any of that type of off the field stuff. They would have definitely gave it, but they end up with Carson Wentz.
Didn't they try to get Russ first?
There's a few things I want to bring up with this trade. Carson Wentz,
Tyler's
it was bigger than just his play. And Dom, we've had this argument a lot. Oh, well, he had good stats and all this other stuff that you always bring up. It's bigger than the stats. Everything's bigger than the stats. You have to actually watch him play
wins and
watch him in the big moments. He did it in Philadelphia, and he did it in Indianapolis at the end of last season. His leadership is also a huge thing that always gets brought up. A lot of guys just don't like working with him. Because he doesn't show good leadership. There's reports that the coaches were being hard on him about certain things.
Oh, well, tough shit. You're the quarterback.
And he did not take it well. That shows straight up immaturity. That shows what his biggest problem is. So that's really what did him in Indianapolis to the point that he wanted to have a meeting with Jim Irsay to clear the air about his future. Jim Irsay didn't even want to meet with him.
I just saw something today. How
bad it was.
Did you see about Strike apologizing for going to get Wentz?
Is not exactly the poster boy for glory gold good tissue GM type person to begin with. So I'm not exactly.
That's not the point. He's the owner of the team, and he didn't want to meet with you because he didn't even want to hear you out.
I'm not losing no sleep because
That's
that
a-
guy didn't want to meet with me.
that's
That's
a
all I'm
worse-
saying. I'm not losing sleep over him.
You might not, but Carson certainly did. Appreciate it, Carol.
Thanks, Carol.
But like I was
That's
getting
me.
ready to say, good luck, Washington, because this is not the guy. This is not the guy. He's probably going to be there for a year or so, and then that's it. And
Get traded for some more picks.
He's probably the third. Who's going to want more? Who's going to want to give up more picks? Washington got robbed. They gave up a second rounder this year. He shouldn't even be worth a second rounder. He shouldn't even be worth a fourth rounder.
Carson Wentz was like the booby prize in the Russell Wilson, whatever you call it, with sweepstakes.
Since Cool's the other Eagles fan, I really want to hear his take because, like, I was watching play callers last night. Remember when I said that the Commanders was better off getting Fitzpatrick?
Damn.
Go ahead, man.
So I had to mute myself because what I did not want to happen was I didn't want my bad, y'all. But I had to mute myself
backing up
because
a semi.
I did not want to interrupt anyone. But I'm not gonna go as in depth as I did last night. Y'all want to hear that? Go watch the Play Caller show.
You went,
went
hard, didn't you?
But what I'm gonna say is simply this: Carson Wentz is trash mentally. I have no respect for a guy who was in the back stages
on his
complaining and mad because he wasn't able to play when we won the Super Bowl. That's not our fault that you got hurt. You were having a good season, but you showed signs from then that you were soft mentally. You almost got beat up by Darren Sproles for saying you didn't want the team to win without you. So that right there lets me know what kind of guy he is. So the next year, so down the road when they draft Jalen Hurts, and the players are like, we want Hurts to start halfway through the season. The players are going to Doug Peterson saying, we want Hurts to start, right? So that tells me right there you lost the team. You know what I'm saying? I don't have respect for a quarterback who can't be a man and accept competition. Fair. You hold the ball too long, that's why you got sacked. You fumble the ball at a ridiculous rate. You don't make good reads. You're a quarterback that's been in the league long enough to get a second contract, right? Mm-hmm. So all I'm simply saying is this, and there's so much more I could say, but I'm simply saying this. Indianapolis realized, we made a mistake. Frank Reich had to go apologize to the team for pushing for the dude. Everybody said Frank Reich was going to be the dude to turn him around. That was the Carson Wentz whisper. You can't turn around a guy that's weak here. You can't do anything about here unless you're a psychiatrist.
That's exactly what I tried to tell y'all too last year and didn't want to listen to me.
Me and James been saying
I'm a hater. I'm a hater. That's what I am.
And if you're an Eagles fan and you're running around defending Wentz and talking about how Wentz is this and Wentz is that, to me, you are now in a group called the Wentz Sexuals. So you can go ahead and you can take him and you can love on him. But why don't you go to the Commanders with him? Because we don't need you in the Eagles fan base. You trade Jalen Hurts tomorrow, I'm no longer talking about Jalen Hurts because he's no longer an Eagle. I'm not running around 2 years later talking about a dude who sucks, who another team didn't even want.
Damn,
you got all these dudes running around
just
Wentz this and Wentz that.
To argue with James.
Shut up. That's all I got to say to y'all. He really loves the dude. He is one of the officers in the Wentz sexual army. He's definitely one.
Okay. I thought he was the president of the Wentz.
Go back to that draft.
He's
your team.
He's a real fan,
everything else aside, who would you rather have, Carson Wentz or Jared Goff?
Can I say something?
Go ahead, JJ.
Number one, cool. I thought he was the president of the Wentz sexuals. The way y'all be going back and forth about it. So I stand by what I said. I will say I did not. Well, to your point about the mental, you think you make some great points because he has to be the one to kind of get over it. But what I will say is, if you want to get through it, you can get through it, because the main reason why I kind of reference this is to one of the greatest basketball players of all time. After his 2011 NBA Finals, after he told the world, at the end of the day, you got to go back to your regular lives. He wasn't mentally prepared for that. And then what happened? He got better and went on to win 4 NBA titles in the next 10 years. So players, if you want to be better and you want to get that mental ability and grow up and be more mature, you can. We don't know if Carson's going to do it, but it has been done before. So I will see what happens. But I will tell you, being in DC, I will give y'all day-to-day reports on this stuff because, we are down the street from them and we do have some, I do follow and read stuff in the DC paper when I'm on the train. So I will definitely keep y'all up to date on this situation here. I think that this is Carson Wentz is definitely that means I'm going to hear all week about the Eagles game because that's going to be circled on the calendar both times.
And I'll be going.
It's just going to be a big deal. But to your point, I do give you credit. Like you make some great points about that because if you got mad because the team didn't won without you, then you really aren't for the team to begin with. Because I'd be so damn happy to get a Super Bowl. If I was a bench player,
Wentz is winning one of those games. You're not sweeping the force game.
Hey, Dom.
All right,
that doesn't really matter. They're still going to suck because he's the quarterback.
I will bet on that all day. We swept them last year.
Doesn't matter because he's a quarterback, so they're not going to do anything.
So are we betting that he's going to win first on that?
No, but to your point,
I mean, Dom, you're the same guy that said the Philadelphia Eagles would win 5 games. Do you really want the smoke again? You really want to get smoked by being dead?
Right.
The second year in a row.
I was wrong. I have no issues admitting when I'm wrong.
Okay, be wrong again then.
I should have been more hopeful because I like Jalen Hurts.
Let's go to the next segment.
Tyler, are you not going to share
so
any
irritated.
Carson Wentz?
Tyler's so irritated.
Tyler's like, I'm sick of hearing about this dude.
Tyler, I told you we were going to go over this.
Tyler's irritated like Will trying to let Cool speak.
Tell Tyler we can talk about Kyrie Irving dropping 50 and then winning against the Sixers.
Tyler,
we're not here to talk about penis cancer
now, bro. So who is your sports moron again?
All right, so my sports moron this week, and I'm stoked about it, was Floyd Mayweather. So,
oh yes,
Floyd Mayweather. A couple nights ago,
the boots.
Right, yeah, a couple nights ago, courtside at the Miami Heat games. He's at courtside too. Bro showed up in some $795 ski boots. Yeah, Uggs, whatever. In Miami, Florida.
Wait, what?
Which is like 85 degrees outside.
You got to see the picture, y'all. Y'all got to see the picture.
And I gotta be honest too. On top of all of this, if you're that rich, you buy the nicest basketball kicks and you wear them to the basketball game. What are we doing here?
Who's playing lounge music?
Look at these boots.
Boots is one thing, but ski boots?
My God. Dude has his Aspen outfit on.
That's a sign of a man
Miami
who
game.
has too much money on his hands and just
He
spent
spent $800 on some ski boots.
in Miami.
He wearing some men's Ugg boots. You know
maybe his feet were cold. Where's this music coming from?
Leggings and Ugg boots in Starbucks. This man dressing like a Starbucks girl.
He's a barista for the day.
I mean, hold on. Time out. No, can I just say
this is disrespectful, right, man?
Can I just say this, though? If we look at Floyd in his whole life, are we really surprised? Because he's always been overzealous and outlandish what he does. The man did a
video. Bro.
The man had 50 women for one night. That man went 50 women in one night and recorded a video about it and then spending his money. He loves to flaunt how much money he has. But to your point, everything was cool except for the shoes. I like the outfit itself. It's just the shoes. The outfit was good until the feet.
Right. Just wear some Jordan 11 Concords.
That would have been
to his
acceptable.
Point, though, I think a lot of people. I think he does that because ain't nobody gonna say it to his face and check him. Because if he says, "What's up? What's good?"
He's not.
No,
Floyd Mayweather is more illiterate than Kevin Garnett.
Floyd for sure walks to the beat of his own drum, but I'm still gonna pick on him when he makes.
That's what.
You make some bad decisions.
That's what that kind of money and acclaim does to you. You go insane. Look at Kanye.
I'm on Team Ye, bro.
And who's more talented, Kanye or Floyd Mayweather?
Who else has got sports moron?
Kanye.
Who else has got sports moron?
I have sports moron, sir.
Next.
Go ahead, Cole.
So I have actually 2, and they're long-standing sports morons. So one is the Washington Commies organization. I don't think I need to explain that one. They're probably going to be a running sports moron for a while now. They probably should be up for sports moron of the decade when we get to that. And the other one is going to be Ben Simmons for saying that I'm going to go to the game in Philadelphia, and if fans heckle me, I'm going to try to use that to help me get funds back because I'm a coward and didn't want to show up for games and play when I was supposed to be part of an organization. So
let me go next.
That's fair.
Kudos to two idiots.
That's fair.
Keep making us
Go
laugh.
ahead, because I'll go last.
Hold
Go
on,
ahead, Greg.
hold on,
Then JJ, then James.
Just to address Carol's comment, yes, that is true, but it's also Floyd Mayweather. If he sneezes or farts wrong, he's going to get publicity.
True. Unfortunately.
True.
He can't spell sneeze or fart. Go ahead, Greg.
Ooh, I hate to do this. I love you, James. You know, I had to do this. James Harden. Bring that ass here, boy. James Harden.
Damn, you stole my thunder.
Come here. I'm sorry. This is the track record now. I tried to defend him with you in Houston. I tried to defend him in Brooklyn. But it's a track record. Every time there's a big moment, a big game.
It's a regular season game.
So he's supposed to shine. So excuse.
Whenever there's a moment, the bright gets light.
We'll see him in the playoffs.
The bright gets light.
Energy.
I'll give him a pass for last year. He played on Brooklyn like half a leg.
Yes, we'll see James Harden in the playoffs.
Give him that. But
with his shrunken penis, like he got a cold pool.
You got Ben Simmons coming in on the end of the day. You know this Philly crowd.
What? You forgotten we still got Embiid. But all right.
No. You got this is big. This is a game decision right now.
He's
coming in. You know the fans hate Ben Simmons. You know he's gonna be there. This is your time to tell him up what's going up.
Oh my god!
On top of that,
you know I had to fit in a penis reference. It's been way too long.
Yeah. And then at the end of it, you do that whole thing where you're hurt now because your calf messed up because you played too hard because you're getting your ass beat. Come on, man. I'm sorry. Playoffs, he might turn up in playoffs, and I hope he does.
No, he won't.
He's gonna turn up in the playoffs, bro.
The next time that James Harden shows up in the playoffs will be the first time.
The Eastern
JJ,
Conference Finals is the new strip club.
But I will say this. I will say this in James Harden's defense. I will say this, and I'm not, everybody know I'm not a huge James Harden fan, but I will say this in his defense. If you give him a layup, he's going to take it. He will do that.
Okay, so
he automatically is going to be better than Ben Simmons.
He has to.
All right, who else?
JJ. I got one. JJ, you got one?
Huh?
No, just me?
Oh,
I'll be real quick.
No,
I've been doing mine here, bro.
I was going to say the moron was what Cool had said as well, because I talked to James about this before. It's like all this time, everybody was you were sitting there happy as hell talking about Philly's this, it's amazing. Kyrie's the problem. Kyrie's this, that, and the third. And then when you had to face Kyrie, you went 5 for 17. Kyrie ended up going for 25 plus and was actually checking you left and right off the back. So if you were in a better situation with a better team, with the MVP, who when that Brooklyn Nets team did not have nobody that could counter him, you should have been able to do a lot more than you should. It got to a point where you stopped even trying to defend Kyrie because he was cooking you so much. I have to say, James, you took a back seat on this joint, bruh. You have to realize that you still have to get out there and play. Not good when you go 5-0, but this game was a game that you were waiting for. Everybody was waiting for this game. And the reason why that you were being waited for this game is because they said you were the reason to take this team over the top. So this was a game that you should have won because you have the better team, as people say. You didn't show up. You got cooked, and you didn't even want to look at Kyrie Irving at all. Kyrie wanted to smoke, and you backed down. You were the moron of the week for me.
And Ben Simmons still didn't want to get out there and play against Philadelphia.
Agree with Ben, because I think him being
my sports moron is James Tatum for talking all that shit about the Philly Nets game, and then you got beat by 30.
It was overhyped.
It was an overhyped regular season game.
It shouldn't have been hyped at all.
Also, I'm not
you were super hype about it, and you lost by 30.
I'm not the only Philly fan that was hyped about that game.
Okay, you and all your brethren, just
we
take
had
this
a
out.
reason after everything Ben Simmons put us through to feel the way that we felt, and that's how we felt.
And unpopular opinion.
Why is that so hard to understand?
Unpopular opinion.
No, that's fair.
Joel Embiid went 5 for 17. He had 15 free throws that got most of his points. Can we say he showed up in that game as well? KD came out.
It was a bad performance by the whole team. It wasn't just James Harden. It wasn't just Joel Embiid. It was a game that happened before the playoffs. It's a game that did not affect the standings in any way. We are still in the top 3 seeds. Brooklyn is still the 8 seed. Nothing changed. It was a wake-up call.
But you have to remember.
I'm not finished.
Hold on.
It was a big game that we lost, but it's not the playoffs.
You can gloss. We will revisit this
in the playoffs.
You can gloss this over.
It's a bad look when you're trying to claim.
I'm not glossing it over.
Hold on, Dom.
It's a bad look when you're trying to proclaim Eastern Conference supremacy.
Dom, let me get this out. You can gloss this over, but I remember 7 or some years ago, Memphis Grizzlies fixed the NBA playoffs because they wanted to handle San Antonio in the first round and beat them. And they were the 7 seed while San Antonio was the 2 seed. So just because it was a regular season game does not mean when the playoffs come and you have to possibly face this team that you
have to beat us 4 times, not 1 time. This isn't March Madness.
I would say
this is a March Madness. I like that one.
Because again, we also have to remember when you get into the playoffs
to avoid that once a 2 seed.
Huh?
I think I heard something about Doc Rivers again, Harden and Embiid rest days. Are y'all trying to avoid Brooklyn in the playoffs? What's going on here?
I don't think you want to see a pissed off Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in the playoffs when you have to actually play and matter the most, because I'll take the guys with championship pedigree over the guys that haven't got there and actually have had perennial.
But Kyrie's only going to get to play 3 games at the most.
Not absolutely.
No, actually it would be 4 games at the most.
The mandates might be lifted by then.
Because they're always
already lifted, but he still can't play.
Yeah,
but I mean,
so
the Nets aren't going to pass.
So there would be 4 games
to get 4 home games.
Well, I'm saying
they're not going to pass them to get.
So hold on.
So the other thing,
the Nets have to be the 6th seed to play us. They are going to play Miami, or they're going to play Milwaukee. They're not going to play us in the first round if they keep the 8th seed.
Right. Unless they get the play in and move up to 7.
You also have to make sure
we either have to be the 1 seed or they have to be the 6th seed.
You also have to make sure you have to maintain your seeding. You have to make sure you maintain your seeding.
We will.
Philly doesn't have to worry about anyone.
Joseph, I'll bet you 3 shots right now. The Sixers will finish in the top 3 seeds in the East when the season's over.
Well,
that's a good bet on that.
It's not much of a bet.
I know it's not, but apparently Joseph doesn't think we can maintain that.
No, I just said no. I know because hold on, but this goes to my point because you guys has already think this speaks to the bravado that I was saying about Philly fans. You guys already came in thinking this is set. We're not going to be this. The Nets aren't nothing. We ain't going to do this. And then what happened? All I'm saying is you still have to play the games and maintain that seeding. So it's not completely clear cut. The only reason why I will give you the most credit is because Jared Allen is hurt in Cleveland. So I don't know how that team is going to last without him and Karis LeVert up there. I don't think, because if they had him and Karis LeVert up there, I would take that bet on and be like, you know what? I don't know if you're going to keep that top 3 seed. I don't.
Doesn't matter where Cleveland finishes, though. They're not going anywhere.
Well, true, but I'm saying like they can jump them and take that 3 seed and they can go back to the 4.
But I like Cleveland.
Chicago was the 1 seed and now we're Chicago now, the 3 seed. Anything can change when things go different. So you still have to play the game. It's not set. Period. It's not.
It's not, but the same thing you're saying about the Sixers, say it about the Heat, say it about the Bucks, say it about any other team that the Nets are going to have to match up against. Because all these teams are good. It's not going to be easy for Brooklyn either.
And don't forget, guys, if you finish in 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th, we still got that play-in thing going this year. So you can still end up. You can end the season 8th and still move up to 7th. Or you can end the season 8th and not even make the playoffs.
Exception.
Well, the Zion Williamson. You're giving the credit to the wrong person.
Yeah, originally yes, but ultimately it's the LeBron.
let's close this show down. It was an exciting show that we had. But let's
Tyler's
close
like,
this show
we
down.
over like
really
20
excited,
minutes.
Tyler.
Everybody shut up.
We already went over our hour. Can we do
We're an
non-sports?
hour and we might as well do it. It's we're already an hour and a half over. We're already
Thank
half
you.
an hour over.
26
Dom,
minutes
what
over.
you got? What you got for non-sports topic, bro?
No limit or cash money? I'll go last.
Cash money.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's hard.
That's tough.
I mean, I'm really not expecting. I'm not
No, I think I'm gonna
respecting
go ahead.
anyone's opinion besides Jay, Greg, and Cool. And my own.
I'm gonna go no
JJ.
limit. No limit had a deeper roster.
Then
And they
I'm
were
not
literally
answering
putting
it.
out-
Then I'm not answering it.
Right,
ahead.
Tyler, why ask if you don't
Yeah,
respect
then
our
don't
opinion?
answer it. Don't answer
I'm
it.
just kidding. State your case. But Jay's right. Greg, what you got?
All right, but I do gotta go though because I gotta get that liquor for the shots.
All right,
with
appreciate
Tyler.
you, JJ. It was
All
fun
right,
debating
man.
with
Thanks
you
for coming
tonight.
on.
Big up, JJ.
Love you, man.
Love you guys. Bye now.
Be easy, man. Who is it? Oh, cool.
Greg,
I
what
think
you
it's your turn.
I'm going to go slightly no limit. Slightly. They did have a deeper roster. But dang, Cash Money was taking over for the 9-9. Lord. That's tough one. That's tough one.
That's hard.
It is. It's real. And also considering, I consider one of the best albums the South ever produced, Flawless, Juvenile 400 Degrees.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Cannot
Thank
be
you.
ignored.
Yes, sir.
They might have had the best album out of that whole catalog. Like 400 Degrees is like that's the pinnacle, but it's still no
That's a
limit
timeless
because deeper
album.
roster.
Yeah.
That's a timeless album. But again, like, dude, strength in numbers, man. Cause you
And
look
the
at,
Ice Cream Man.
yeah, exactly. Get OD, like, ugh.
Yep. Make
That's just
make
P
crack.
alone,
That
you know,
is.
like
And Mystical
Silk,
and
Sergeant to the
Fiend
Game,
and
Pain,
Matt
Matt.
and
See
Soldier
Murder,
Slim.
2 albums. I mean, come on, man. Like,
I feel you.
you look
Yeah.
at Cash Money, they really were only 6 people. The Big Timers and the Hot Boys. No limit.
Plus,
Dude,
KLC is a better beat maker than Manny Fresh.
Yeah, Beats by the Pound was sick.
Beats by the Pound and KLC. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is close. Just cause 3 of the 4 that they did have Cash Money.
Yeah.
It's
It was
definitely
nice.
interesting.
This
Definitely interesting debate.
would be really tough.
Plus,
like, if you were to
people
ask
try to
someone
tip the
from native
scales
New
just based
Orleans-
off Lil Wayne.
I mean,
He's
like,
not
if
enough.
you ask somebody
He's not
from
enough.
native New Orleans, their answer may differ depending on what side of New Orleans they come from.
Facts. Which ward in the project?
Yeah, which ward did they come from? You know, like
Tyler was like, "Fuck it, I'm out."
someone Magnolia Project is gonna say Cash Money.
But for the most part, they were all friends across the labels.
Yeah.
Most part, yeah.
Very interesting.
Like BG was from Cash Money, but he hooked up with Soulja Slim from No Limit.
Yeah.
But they were friends like growing up.
Yeah, I think we could talk about this stuff all night, guys, but we've been on here for an hour and a half. We got to close out the show.
Right.
Appreciate everybody for the support. 1-year anniversary of the Gauntlet. It was a great show. If you guys don't mind, please leave a thumbs up on the video. It will really help the algorithm reach more people so they can see it and watch it, and subscribe to the channel if you guys are not already. You can see us back here every Saturday night, but we also have off-season content with the NFL coming for you guys during the week. I will be doing Cincinnati Bengals next. That'll be the next off-season video that I'm going to be covering. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to the Sip Off, Sports Arena, NBA Carousel, all the great shows on the Sideline Sports Network. We will see you guys
Play
next
callers.
Play callers.
Yes, sir.
Real play callers.
Let's go.